It is a strange time in our world, in our country. It has been a weird, shitty week.
Yes.
We'd be remiss if we did not acknowledge the horrific shooting in Uvalde, Texas, Uvalde, as they say in Texas. And I don't really know what we can even say without being just like horrified beyond belief. We are not here to remind you of all the horrors. Our job is to sort of talk about fun, happy things.
Yeah, our lane is the show business, and so we're going to talk about the news there. But in case you were wondering, yes, obviously it's been a shitty week, but maybe you have had enough of the shitty week and you're here to hear about, like, I don't know, Vin Diesel. So we're going to talk about that.
Indeed. And actually there is the slightest connection to our world with this. Matthew McConaughey happens to be from Uvalde and put out a statement about how horrified he was by this and kind of can we all get along kind of thing. Also, today is the NRA convention in Houston. The National Rifle Association is having its convention in Houston, of all places. And a lot of performers who were scheduled to play have pulled out, including Lee Greenwood, Larry Gatlin, and Don McLean. So that is happening. If you will want to share your thoughts on any of this, please feel free. We are always here to listen and to talk, but it is also Memorial Day weekend. And so we are here to take your mind off of things for a while with frivolity. Although my first news item for you is Ray Liotta dying.
I know. Yes, in his sleep, he was in the Dominican Republic on a film shoot. We don't have any more information yet about what caused it, but I mean, hell of a career. I did a little retrospective appreciation thing on the Wrap, and I remembered how the first movie I really remember seeing him in was Jonathan Demme's Something Wild, and how when he appears in that movie, it's just like this bolt of lightning and so riveting and so terrifying, and I was just engrossed. And then it wasn't until much later that I realized that I had actually seen him in his not great film debut in The Lonely Lady, the Pia Zadora vehicle from 1983. Obviously Goodfellas will be the role that he'll always be associated with. And we talk about how narration in movies is so hard to pull off, and both in the writing and in the performing, and how it can be really terrible and really sort of a crutch for movies that are falling apart elsewhere. But it's that narration by Scorsese and Nicholas Pileggi is so well written, and he delivers it so well and really just puts you inside of that character's shoes for the entire running time.
Yeah, the thing with Ray Liotta is, if you look at his filmography, it's so diverse, it's so vast, but whatever role he was in, he brought that singular thing, which was like a charismatic presence with this undeniable layer of menace beneath it.
But
and he was always beautiful, but he was in a couple of Muppet movies. Muppet movies, of course.
Okay. No, did you ever see Dominic and Eugene in the late 80s?
I don't think I did.
Oh, lovely movie. It should be on the missing movies list because it's not streaming and the DVD's out of print. But Liotta and Tom Hulce play twins, and Tom Hulce's character is intellectually disabled, and Liotta's character is taking care of him, and his love interest is Jamie Lee Curtis. It's a lovely film, and he plays a completely sweet character. Karina, another one, most of the time, you're right, absolutely menacing, and did it was one of the best, but could also do the other thing and be really sweet and charming about it.
Let me rephrase that then, because maybe it wasn't always menace, but there was something unpredictable. Like there was a spark, sure. And whenever he showed up, he would make whatever he was doing more interesting. And that is up to more recent roles in Marriage Story as Adam Driver's lawyer in Marriage Story. And he's so fantastic in The Many Saints of Newark opposite Alessandro Nivola again. And he's like the elder statesman
as twins again,
right? Mafia person. And brought like a world weariness, but also an edge and also a wisdom, and always fascinating to watch no matter what role he was in. So it's a huge loss. Ray Liotta at 67. Star Wars Celebration happened this past week. And so we learned more about all of the things to look forward to. We're talking about Obi-Wan this week on our Patreon, of course, but there's always more content waiting for us. So this is like the anticipation machine is grinding out stuff. And so we've got
many of these shows will be set on Tatooine.
Enough with the Tatooine. I'm so sick of it, but at least here it's relevant because that's anyway.
Yes.
As if you're watching Obi-Wan, you'll see.
Yeah.
We learned about the Ahsoka show and Andor, which is a prequel to Rogue One. It leads us up to Rogue One, which of course leads us up to Star Wars. We learned about The Mandalorian season 3 coming out. That will be in February of 2023. And of course, we will recap that for you on our Patreon. We also learned about Indiana Jones 5. And I just don't know that I need Harrison Ford to play Indiana Jones again. We talked about, Top Gun Maverick and how cool it is to see Tom Cruise go back to this iconic role. Like, I think Harrison Ford can hang it up at this point.
One would think, look, I you know me, I always try and say I live in hope. I try not to prejudge anything. Yes, on paper it seems like really we're doing this, but you know what? I would love to be shocked and be like, you know what? Didn't think it was going to work. Didn't think it was a good idea. And look at what they've done.
James Mangold directed.
James Mangold, yeah. Yes. So maybe I'm sure he's bringing something to the table here.
This comes out in June of 2023. Cannes continues with its 12-minute standing ovation for Elvis. If that means shit, it does not. You cannot judge like the ovation as a sign of quality.
I want Elvis to be the new Aline. That's my new goal here. I want it to be that bonkers because it's Baz Luhrmann and bonkers is his business.
I saw that Kyle Buchanan, our friend Kyle, was tweeting about like all the anachronistic music, which is of course, it's a thing that Baz Luhrmann does. If he didn't, it would be questionable. But yeah, like Britney Spears' Toxic is in this.
I've heard it described that it's like if the first 20 minutes of Moulin Rouge were an entire movie. So bring it, I guess.
With a terrible Tom Hanks accent. Also sparking some what the fuck responses is the new Claire Denis. I know that Claire Denis is like a saint in your house there. Well, how do you feel about this?
More for my husband than for me, but yes, I'm interested to hear about it. I mean, the review that we ran on the wrap was fairly positive. But yeah, people are sort of not quite sure what to make of this and what was the intent. And it's only her second film in English. But it's this very sort of like, on the one hand, kind of a sweaty and passionate spy thriller, but on the other hand, very, her sort of reserved distance as well. So that may or may not be a combo that works for people, but I'm real curious to see it.
Stars at Noon. It is called Jodie Foster is going to star in True Detective season 4.
Great. Have you watched any of the True Detectives?
We recap an entire season, Alonso.
Okay, it's a blur, like because when I know we were doing it on What the Flick, but like with TV and I'm never quite sure what Anyway, I'm psyched. I think she'll be good at this. So I hope that the writing and directing is there to match.
In Alaska, home of the Beartooth Theater Pub in Anchorage, which happens to be our movie house shout out theater of the week.
Segue queen.
Thank you. Go find them. They're a lovely place. You can go check them out at beartooththeater.net. We'll have a link to you below. It's a beautiful theater, beautiful place.
And they've got some fun repertory coming up as well as first run films.
Indeed. So go check them out. And then a little bit of sad news for those of us who love Depeche Mode, those of us who are children of the 80s. Depeche Mode keyboardist Andy Fletcher, OG Depeche Mode guy, dead at 60. That's way too young. But he was crucial to their sound, of course.
Yes. Look at I just had a birthday, so I'm very cognizant of the fact that like the Gen X obits for the next coming couple of decades are going to start hitting fast and furious. So get ready, everybody.
Yes, as if we ever needed a reason to use Depeche Mode as our opening music for our podcast.
Exactly.
This is the week of all weeks.